Welcome to the inaugural podcast of Success Coach Andy. I'm Andy Shepherd of Shepherd Success Coaching. Many thanks for joining me on this first ever podcast to complement my successful talk radio show of the same name, Success Coach Andy, on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. I decided to create a podcast for you to carry with you and listen wherever you may be. A few people had been asking for this. I'd been posting things on YouTube and basically that wasn't convenient for everybody. They wanted something on MP3, something a bit more portable, so that's the reason I'm doing this. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a Tony Robbins certified success coach. I'm a radio presenter, I'm a speaker and an author. The idea behind this podcast is to give you the technology and tools that will totally transform your life in every way possible. This is what it has done for me, from financial to professional to love life to even the country where I lived. So whatever you want to change, I will talk about it and give you the tools that'll get you there. So connect with me on Facebook and we can talk about this. You can go to my website, which is successcoachandy.com, and you can get in contact with me there. So tonight we're going to be talking about getting it all and love what you've got. So to get it all, sometimes you have to change some of your habits. Sometimes we need to quit things to get a better life. So, here are the typical stuff. We need to quit smoking. We need to quit drinking. We need to stop being overweight. We need to stop not exercising. Well, we're all tired of hearing all of those, though they are very relevant and they are things that can really make a difference. So how about looking at some things we don't usually think about quitting? So how about superficial dating? Or being with people who drag us down. I'm a firm believer in the 5 people rule, as I call it. We are the average of the 5 people that we spend most of our time with. From a point of conditioning, we are... Well, let me just go back a few stages. What is conditioning all about? This is something that Pavlov found by doing experiments with dogs. He found that if you put meat in front of a dog, obviously it's going to start salivating. So he measured the saliva. What he did was he kept presenting the meat to the dog. It would salivate, and he would measure the saliva. What he did was ring the bell at the same time as producing the meat, and continued doing this over and over again, to a point where he could just ring the bell without showing the meat and the dog would salivate to the same degree. So what he concluded from this was that, he conditioned the animal, and he found that basically you condition people as well. So that's a very basic psychology and point of view there. So what do we get from this? Well, basically we're being influenced by everything around us. We know that we're being influenced by television. This is why we make a big fuss about it. But we're influenced also by the people around us. So we need to be influenced by positively and get the most. So we need to be with people who are going to be putting some good stuff into our heads, and keep away from people who are, got negative energy and whatever. I'm sure you know all of this, but to be complete, I've just got to talk about it. Another thing that we should start quitting is self-doubt. This is just so negative, where we're just looking at and doubting that we can do anything, that we don't have the ability. Of course we do. We've got this amazing power within us that if we unleashed it, we would absolutely blow our minds as to its potential. And self-loathing can be one for some people. People can just really not like themselves, or they just basically don't love themselves. It's like, you're beautiful. We really are. We need to look at ourselves and realize the beauty within us. There's, we spend all of our times looking at the bad side of everything, the bad side of our lives and the bad side of who we are. Well, turn it around, start looking at the good side and what that's going to do. So self-loathing, it's the pit. You don't want it, throw it away. Procrastination. Oh, there's a big one. I mean, we're all pretty good at this, aren't we? I mean, come on, let's admit it, or we have been in the past. So that's something that we really want to stop doing. We need to stop procrastinating. I know a great one that Tony Robbins said, we should leave procrastination for tomorrow, do it tomorrow, procrastinate tomorrow. I like that. So when we're looking at quitting things, we need to ask questions. So one of them is, why do we want to quit things? We need to look at that. Why do we want to quit it? And also from the converse is, why don't we want to quit it? So these are kind of crazy questions, but if you look at them deeply, then you'll see the validity of them. So one thing I want to talk about is that we're basically motivated by, there are two big motivators. One of them is pain and the other one is pleasure. So everything that we do pretty much is dependent on, we're either avoiding pain. If you're normal, that's what you do. And we're pleasure seekers. We want the pleasure. So what we need to do is to look at making this a winning situation and use these two things, pain and pleasure, to our advantage. So let's look at pleasure, for example. We need to look at, what are the gains if we do whatever it is that we're setting out to do? So an example I could think of is like maybe superficial dating, which I talked about, which reminds me of a lady that I used to know, not somebody I dated, I hasten to say. So, this person was just going from one relationship to another, and she was a beautiful woman, and she could never find happiness. And she would just go from one relationship to another, and she would get sick and tired of whoever she was with. And I used to talk to her and say, well, why is it that you do this? And she just said, I'm lonely. I can't bear to be alone. I've got to be with somebody. And hey, I'm a beautiful woman. Why shouldn't I be with somebody? And okay, I get that. But what is the quality of who you're with? And so I talked to her and changed things around for her, and eventually she saw the light that by looking at the positive things that she'll get if she had a meaningful relationship and started looking for the qualities of a man who could support her and that she deserved, then everything started changing and started turning it around. So she eventually met an absolutely fantastic guy, and I'm really happy that she's ended up marrying him. She's had kids. She's now enjoying sharing a life with this guy, and she has the full support of him, and her life has turned around, and her spiritual growth and personal growth have really gone places. It's just phenomenal. I love it. So what stops us from quitting? Well, one of the things can be habit. We've just got the habit of doing stuff. So, okay, yeah, we know that. We've got the habit of drinking, or we got the habit of smoking, and we could have the habit of superficial dating. So, that's one thing. We're creatures of habit. For some people, there are certain psychological profiles, if you like, where we like to do the same thing. We like comfort, we like to have security, so we just keep doing it even if it's bad. And also there's like a self-belief point as well, where we might believe that it's not possible to change. So that's something that we're not capable, and we say, well, other people can do it but we can't. And that's not true. The power of the mind, and I can't reiterate this enough. So I remember one thing from Robin Williams. I think it was a film called Kingfisher, and the guy really upset me with this quote, but it's quite brilliant. It stuck in my mind and it made a big difference. He saw that there was this guy who was trying to commit suicide. What am I talking about? He was trying to stop smoking. For some people, it seems like committing suicide. So he's trying to stop smoking. And Robin Williams said to him, he said, you need to decide if you are a smoker or if you aren't. If you're a smoker, keep smoking. If you're not a smoker, stop smoking. And to me, it's like, well, if you're doing something really bad, you've got to find the way of getting out of it and stop doing it. But anyway, cut a long story short, to me, it's all down to, the person's identifying himself as being a smoker, then they will be a smoker. So you've got to turn it around and say, I'm not a smoker anymore. How long does it take you to stop? It takes this long. It takes an instant. That moment where you decide not for another month, not for another day, not for another hour, not for another minute, not for another second. I'm stopping this right now. We have the power to really move forward and make a difference. So once we've decided that we're going to quit, that's all you need to do. You don't need to know the mechanism. You just say, right, that's what I'm going to do. Preferably, if you've got some real hatred of whatever you're doing, this is great. But that's going to be covered in what I'm going to talk about now. So, there are 8 steps to quitting. Do you want to hear about them? I'm hearing you say yes. I'm alone here, well, I'm not. I know that you guys are all listening out there, so I'm grateful for you to being on this call. So, here are the 8 steps of quitting. So the first one is that you need to recognize that something needs to be changed, okay? So, and a great way of doing that is to kind of look at what is going to happen in 6 months' time if you don't make that change, and what it's going to be like, your life's going to be in a year's time, and so on. So let's take, for example, superficial dating for one. So how will it be in 6 months' time? Well, basically, you're not going to feel too good. You're going to feel pretty lonely. In a year's time, think about all of the people that person could have been with. They're going to feel pretty miserable. And then in 2 years' time, in 5 years' time, 10 and 20. If you look at, for example, not exercising, this is just, your body is just getting more and more useless because you're not exercising it. You just become a couch potato. You look like a potato sitting on your couch, eating your chips or crisps, as we call them in the UK, and not doing anything. And, in 6 months' time, you're going to continue feeling lousy. In a year's time, you're going to feel probably ill. In 5 or 10 years, you're probably going to start having serious illnesses. And, pretty soon, you're going to have a miserable life. You could have some life-threatening disease if you're overeating and under-exercising. Maybe, you've got something which is just gonna kill you. You probably, I can't think of the word now, but you're on a slow path to ruin. So that's terrible. So this is where you're building the pain aspect in, but it's for a good cause. So you then need to look at how it's holding you back, slowing you down, or getting in your way. So obviously, if you're not exercising, then it's going to be slowing you down and getting you in your way because you've not got a quality life. We're all here to have this fabulous life. So for the example of exercising, that's the reason you need to do it. So you can have a fabulous life. So you can attract a fabulous partner, so that you can I don't know. I mean, I've recently been doing an exercise program. I found something that I could do at home 25 minutes a day, and it's changed my life. I've got so much energy now. I feel great. I'm like a spring chicken, if I need to go and run for something, I can go and run for the bus and catch it so my girlfriend can get on it. Whatever it is, it's great. And I feel really good. I'm getting slimmer all the time. I feel more attractive. I feel better about myself. I can think straighter. I'm sleeping better. These are great things. So you can do the opposite now. So like stage 3 is to like contemplate how your life is going to be by benefiting from this. So, you can think about, well, in 6 months' time, how am I going to be if I'm getting fitter, and how am I going to be in a year and 2 years and so on. So I'm going to get slimmer, and imagine all of the walks I can do, and imagine I could do some competitions and go running, or I could start cycling again, or go swimming, or etc., or maybe I can go and do the Santiago Trail and go walking there, or go and climb Mount Everest, as a dear friend of mine does. He's listening right now. I think he's in his 70s. I can't remember, 75 or something. Everything's possible if you stay fit. The next thing then, number 4, is this commitment to change. You need it, where you're just going, not another day, not another hour, not another minute, not another second. I need to change. You get to that passion point where you're not having it anymore. It ends now. Literally, the buck stops here. So the 5th part of it is that you need to see that change is possible. Okay, you need to believe that, because if you don't believe that it's possible, you're not going to do anything. So it's got to be something that's believable. You need to really believe that you can do it. Otherwise, if you can't, then you're not going to start something that you don't believe in. Obvious, isn't it? But something to really focus on. So you need to find how to make the change. So, for example, if you are wanting to you stop superficial relationships, then you need to find a coach or a therapist who can help you through that, to find out if there's a psychological aspect as to why that's happening. Maybe something happened in the past. Maybe you had a family that weren't loving to you, or they let you down. Could be anything like that. Or if you stop smoking or stop drinking, or give up whatever, if you're on some kind of drugs or whatever, you may need to do rehab. You need to stop the addiction. Smoking specifically, maybe you could use a nicotine patch or something like that, or I don't know, they've got all sorts of different ways of doing it now. So go and talk to your doctor and find out about it. And if you want a diet, then you can find out the best diet. You can go and talk to people about it. You can go and find out what is the best way of doing it, and find out how other people who succeeded and follow their success. You get the picture. So the next one is then to implement the change. So you need to kind of work out a strategy. So write it out, map it out, work out how you're going to go and do it. So for example, with me, I was always trying to exercise. I found it really difficult, and it was down to a time thing. There were 2 things, time, and I needed something that I could do anywhere. So I found it. I found from Beachbody T25. I don't need anything. I just need a CD player. So that could be my laptop. Fantastic. Do that. I can do that in a hotel. I can do that at home. I don't need any space. I don't need any weights. I don't need a gym. It works. It's 25 minutes. So that's a great example. Just because you think you can't do it doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just you think you can't do it. So you need to be open, ask for what you want, and this brain, this mind will find a way to do it. So believe in that. Finally, part 8 is about accountability. So this is the 8th step. We have a danger of elasticity. We tend to go back to where we were. So the ways of stopping this are to get a coach. So a success coach, find out why you're doing that and make sure you're not going to go back again. Find accountability partners. I wrote a chapter specifically about accountability in Zero to Hero. I co-authored with David T. Fagan. So have a look at my chapter. You know, I'll tell you what, if you go to my site right now, you can go and get that for free. So go to successcoachandy.com and go and get your free. It'll download there. You just put in your email and you can go and get it. How's that? Give you a little gift. And the final thing is, you know, reward and punishment. Then whatever you're doing, if you achieve it, you give yourself a little reward, and if you don't do it, then you have a little punishment. So if you've worked out, so you say, okay, if I've worked out, I can watch my favorite TV program, or if I've worked out really hard, once a week I can have my favorite Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I don't know, something like that. Make it up, you know, whatever works for you. Be inventive, have fun with it. So what else can we have a look at here? Yeah, I know. How about starting things? So I've been talking all the time about how to quit things. So how about starting whatever you want to start? So why should we start something new? I mean, that's something we need to look at. Why should we start it? We need to give ourselves some kind of impetus, some force to actually do it, some reason for it. And we need to look at, well, what stops us? Because if we know what's stopping us, then that can help us. So we need to find out how to stop the stopping. How do we stop stopping ourselves? Well, for example, one of the things that really kills us from starting anything is that horrible P word. Oh gosh, I wish I could remove this word, don't you? Procrastination. It's horrible. I think if they could just remove that word out of the dictionary so it didn't exist anymore, no mañana, things would be better, don't you think? Yeah, I think so. So, you know, what is procrastination about? Why is it we do this? So we do it for laziness. You know, is it that? Sometimes it is. Well, like I say, I mean, we're driven by pain and pleasure. So, you know, some things we just genuinely don't like. For some people, it's pain. For some people, it's pleasure. A great example of this would be cleaning. I admit it, I hate cleaning. I'll wash dishes, no problem, and I'll have a shower, I'll clean myself every day, beautiful, no problem, brush my teeth, all of this. But cleaning the house, the floor, all of the stove, all this kind of thing, oh no, I hate it. But you know something, there are people who love cleaning. And you ask them why, and they say, well, you know, I can put my music on, and I'm in my own little world when I'm doing it, and I get such a great feeling at the end of it when it's all done, because, you know, I get this sense of fulfillment. I look at the house and it's spotless, and I know that I can clean it better than anybody else. But at least that's what a friend of mine told me when I asked her. So there you go. For some people it's pain, for some people it's pressure. So obviously when we procrastinate, we're going to associate some pain or discomfort to doing it. So how can we use this pain or discomfort to our advantage? Well, we need to drive us and to get past this pain aspect. So we need to just look in the future and just see, well, if I don't do this, how is it going to be? And another thing is that basically it often takes us much more time to think about it and to worry about it than it does to actually do it. I mean, haven't you found that? Haven't you got, I don't know, some paperwork that you need to organize, or some tax returns you need to do? You need to put all the files in the right place. And when you actually got round and done it, you're spending every day, you know, a few minutes every day or more longer than that worrying about it and going, oh, this is bugging me, I don't want to do it. And then you go and do it, and what? It takes you maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. Wow, how much time and how much mental power would you gain or stop using up for nothing if you went and did it Just, okay, I've got to do it, go and do it. I think that would be, try it. Just try it and you'll feel really great. Another thing is that I learned is that I did a course in Brazil, and one of the concepts that my teacher Flavio had there was that he said that there's kind of like a gestalt effect. And he said that when there's lots of things that you're not doing, you're kind of stacking them one on top of the other, and they all pile up. And, you know, we've got this invisible subconscious pressure, so that, you know how it is. I mean, once you've cleared things, then you feel better out of it. And according to Flavio, that is the reason why. So I think that's definitely something to look at. And remember, you know, you need to find reasons why you should or shouldn't do something. So how can we kill procrastination? Well, a lot of this is sometimes it's down to anchoring. You know, we've got it anchored into us that we're not going to do certain things. First of all, what is anchoring all about? Well, we know that for a boat, you've got an anchor and it holds the boat in one position. Well, from a point of view of a coach or psychological point of view, then anchors in our mind work the same way. Anchors are used like this for advertising, for example. This is a good example. So we've got Beyonce at the moment, and she's pretty, she sings nice, people like her because she looks good, or they like her songs, and they feel good. They look at her, hear her music, and they feel good. So in the advert, they put Pepsi Cola next, and then you see her and you hear her singing, and then flash up a picture of a Pepsi Cola can. So what you're doing is you're anchoring the two things together, and so you're associating Pepsi with Beyonce or with her music, and so then you get this anchor of a good feeling with Pepsi. Well, you would if you found Pepsi a nice drink, which I don't, but maybe you do. So that's the technicalities, the reasons why anchoring works. So one thing you need to do is to be able to what we call collapse them, to disintegrate them, to obliterate them. So, and you can, in their place, put a positive anchor. So that's something that a coach like myself can do. So if you're interested, you know how to get hold of me. So here are 7 killer questions, killer as in good, questions you can ask to get what you want. Okay, so what I'd suggest you do is, this is going to be on a podcast, so you want to just pause this and write them down. So here are the questions. So can you see the benefit from being able to quit anything you wanted to? Okay, can you see the benefit? That's the first one. The second question is, can you see the benefit of being able to start anything whenever you want to? The third is, what would that mean to you? What would that mean to you? How would your life be is number 4. Look at how your life would be if you did whatever the action was. 5, how would you benefit? So you have a better house, or would you have more money, a cleaner house? Would you be fitter? Would you have a better, happier relationship? Look at how you'd benefit. So 6, don't you think you deserve it? Look at that aspect of it. How much you deserve it. Look at that. You do, don't you? So get that motivation. And finally, number 7, how can you get someone to help you? Well, for example, who could you get to help you? How could you get somebody? So you could get myself to help you, for example. I'm a coach. It'd be a pleasure. I'd love to do that. Finally, one thing I'd like to say is that, Atisha said that, this is a Buddha Atisha, he said that the problem is that we want too little. We should want all of the things that we already have. If you have the chance, I'd like you to do the following. And if you don't have the chance, I'd like you to do it anyway. I'd like you to go ahead and just go around your house and look at all of the amazing things you've had and really appreciate them. Have a look at the car you've got. Don't say, oh, it's an old one and it's got a ding here or a dent there, or I wish I got the new model and it's got alloy wheels and a better stereo. None of that. Just look at it. It gets me from A to B. I have this car. I'm fortunate. I've got an iPod. I've got a laptop. I've got an amazing wife. I've got this amazing dog. I've got this amazing house. I've got this, whatever it is, just look at it all. I mean, if you just looked at every single item that you had in just one room and took all of the drawers out and just and cubby holes and looked every single where and just really took a moment to contemplate that and really feel how lucky you are, that'd be a great thing, and that would transform your life. It's all about focus, everybody. You know, if we focus on the right thing, this is great. We focus on the wrong thing, it's not so great. So, you know, it's all about focusing on what we have. We're kind of taught from a consumerist point of view, we have to consume all the time. That's just the way the world economy works. Well, it doesn't make us happy, because all the time we need to consume, we need to get something better. And the way to counteract this, the antidote to this, is to appreciate all of the things we have. Basically, the main points that I'd like you to remember are to decide what you want to quit or change. Do whatever it takes to get committed to change, and that the consequences are not acceptable if you don't make that change. Get some accountability, and if you can, I'd recommend a coach, or sometimes you need some you might need a therapeutic factor in there to get you through the process until you succeed. It would be great to hear from you. It'd be great to coach you. Feel free to call me on 310-774-6691, or go to my website of successcoachandy.com and to find more information there, or to get in contact with me. So the next podcast is going to be out with the bad and in with the good. So thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.